One Sunday morning in 1962, over there in 10 Downing Street, the British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan received some alarming news from the American President John F. Kennedy. His worst fears about the Cold War between the Russians and his allies, the Americans, looked as though they were about to be realised. The world seemed to be on the brink of nuclear war. How can we be sure of this? Sources. Our first source is this one. It's got top secret written all over it. This is a note from the US Ambassador's office to the office of the Prime Minister. And it says, "I have just come from seeing the President. He will be sending you an extremely important message on Cuba by about 10 p.m. today, London time." So this is hugely secretive. And he wants to make sure that the Prime Minister is going to be there to receive it. This is the telegram that arrived just a few hours later. The President said, "Photographic intelligence has established beyond question in the last week that the Soviet Union has engaged in a major build-up of medium-range missiles in Cuba." He says this extraordinarily dangerous and aggressive Soviet step obviously creates a crisis of the most serious sort, in which we shall have to act most closely together. There's a real sense of drama building up here. This top secret document was most probably the first the UK government heard about the developing crisis. At the time, both the British Prime Minister Harold Macmillan and the American President John F. Kennedy had no idea how things would turn out. We need further sources to find out how the leaders reacted. The Americans also sent through this map, and it depicts Cuba just over here next door to the United States, and it shows the range of the nuclear missiles held in Cuba. And we can see all the key American cities and these red rings radiating out from Cuba. So these are the range of the missiles. Could this be the Americans winding up the diplomatic pressure on the British? They're saying the potential here is for so many major American US cities to be completely obliterated, wiped out, and we need you to stand with us on this.
On October 22nd, 1962, President John F. Kennedy broadcast a special message to the nation from his office in the White House. Here is President Kennedy as he delivered that message, bearing on recent events in Cuba.
Good evening, my fellow citizens. This government, as promised, has maintained the closest surveillance of the Soviet military buildup on the island of Cuba. Within the past week, unmistakable evidence has established the fact that a series of offensive missile sites is now in preparation on that imprisoned island. The purpose of these bases can be none other than to provide a nuclear strike capability against the Western Hemisphere. Upon receiving the first preliminary hard information of this nature, last Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I directed that our surveillance be stepped up. And having now confirmed and completed our evaluation of the evidence and our decision on a course of action, this government feels obliged to report this new crisis to you in fullest detail. The characteristic of these new missile sites indicate two distinct types of installations. Several of them include medium-range ballistic missiles capable of carrying a nuclear warhead for a distance of more than 1,000 nautical miles. Each of these missiles, in short, is capable of striking Washington, D.C., the Panama Canal, Cape Canaveral, Mexico City, or any other city in the southeastern part of the United States, in Central America, or in the Caribbean area. Additional sites not yet completed appear to be designed for intermediate range ballistic missiles, capable of traveling more than twice as far, and thus capable of striking most of the major cities in the Western Hemisphere, ranging as far north as Hudson's Bay, Canada, and as far south as Lima, Peru. In addition, jet bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons are now being uncrated and assembled in Cuba, while the necessary air bases are being prepared. This urgent transformation of Cuba into an important strategic base by the presence of these large, long-range, and clearly offensive weapons of sudden mass destruction constitutes an explicit threat to the peace and security of all the Americas.
Here is a discussion on Ukraine conflict with former MI6 chief, Sir John Soares. In this clip, recorded on the 1st of March 2022, Sir John Soares advises Oxford Union Society members that we need to keep dangers at a distance from us, which is the essence of our security. You don't want your security on the white cliffs of Dover, you want your security to be 1,000 miles away. Isn't that the same existential threat President Vladimir Putin is concerned about Ukraine?
If I was to leave you with a thought, and that is that engaging in the world is fantastically important, especially now when there are so many problems. We're not talking about climate change this evening. It's another whole dimension of international life, which is a real challenge that we're all facing, and your generation will face above any. We're facing the challenges of technology. We're facing challenges of strategic rivalry. We're facing the challenge of finding a new role for Britain after what I think was a mistaken decision to leave the European Union, but we've done it now. We've got to find a new role for ourselves outside the European Union, where we can play a part in extending our values and keeping dangers at a distance from us, which is the essence really of our security. You don't want your security to be on the white cliffs of Dover. You want the security to be 1,000 miles away, so that you can operate freely and our people can go about their lives in freedom and with one hopes growing prosperity.